That's right. Okay. This is not a test. It is not a test. I thought that I had made a video, but I did not. So now what I'm doing is trying to backtrack and do it all over again. I'm using my camera this time. I thank the Most High that I found this camera because I was hiking on, what is it, Husky Gap Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and, oh, please work. Is it even recording? I hope it is. Otherwise, I'll have to get back on this computer and record, which I don't want to do that. Okay. Shalom, shalom. Let me move this back. This is the last thing I wanted to do is fall while I'm trying to record. Let me see. I really want this to work. But, on the Hebrew Israelite Believers Facebook group, there's a lot of new people comes in. Some stay, some don't. I don't have any control over that. But they want to know how to keep the feast days. And so this is a discussion about how to keep the Moedim, the appointed days with Yah. Starting with the fall feast this time, which is called Yom Teruah, the day of blasting, the day of shouting, the day of noise. So, let me see. I'm so glad that God gave me back that camera. I thought I lost it, and I thought it was gone for good. Because when I got up to the top of the ridge, start over the mountain, I sat down for a while and was resting, talking with my friends. And when I got home, I didn't see this camera, and I thought, oh no, it's on Husky Gap, I'll never see it again. And I started to pray and pray and pray, and it's been gone for 2 years, and now it's back, and I'm glad to see it. It just fell out of some of my gear that I was cleaning out, and I'm so glad to see it. But this is not about the camera, but it's a praise report. I did get my camera back. So we're getting to Yom Teruah. How do we keep this day? And we're going to look at Leviticus and see what the Most High told us to do. We should do exactly what we've been told to do if it's possible, okay? If it's possible. Alright. Priests and offerings, marriages, the Lord's feast days, and Pentecost. Here it goes. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24. It says, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord." That's what we do. We don't have to, what's going on? But we don't have to have a big convocation getting together with people. It's a good thing to do because there's more joy and more happiness when you've got a great big amount of people. But a lot of people will be doing this with their families. And so what you'll need, you'll have to have an offering made by fire. I guess that's food. And some people sit out by a bonfire, and they might just have their food outside, and then they'll be blowing the trumpets. And then, of course, you thank the Most High, because since this occurs on a new moon, the monthly moed, the monthly appointed time with the Most High, you will say the blessings for a new month. Bless the Lord for letting you live to see another month. On the Hebrew Israel, no. On the Hebrew 4, letter 4, Christians website, run by a lovely man named John Parsons. He's not a Hebrew Israelite, but he's a Messianic believer. He has the Shehekienu prayer, and that's a good prayer that the Jews pray every time they reach a good point in time where there's celebration. They pray, I forget how it goes, but it ends with Shehekienu, Vihigienu, Lezman Hazeh, thanking the Lord for letting you live to be at this point of time. So say a prayer for letting the Most High let you live to see the another month, the 7th month, and then you can also you've got to have the food, and also the loud making of noise. Teruah means shouting, trumpet blowing, a blast. Yom means day, Teruah means day of blasting, day of shouting. And so here at Matthew chapter 24, verse 31, it says, and I'll start at 29, because it tells you when he's coming back. And it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the heaven. I don't know what that sign is, but it's going to appear in the heavens. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels. Here comes the Teruah, the blasting. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, and from one end of heaven to the other. See, the true Israel is still spread out all under the four corners of the earth, from one end of heaven to the other. Now, so that's the Teruah, the blasting, the cry, and the trumpet. And then we can go to 1 Thessalonians 4, starting at verse 16, which says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel. There's the screaming, the crying. So it's not only blowing a trumpet or a shofar, it's also screaming and crying and whatnot. The voice of the archangel, and with a trump of God. The Messianic Jewish Bible says with the blast of God's own shofar. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. That's one of the things. This loud noise is going to wake them up, and they will rise before we will rise. And some of us will be so scared we'll drop dead and rise with them, men's hearts failing them for fear. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with our holy King, or the Holy One of Israel, the Mashiach. And then he'll turn us over to Yahweh, the God of gods, Melech HaMelachim, the Lord of lords, the King of kings. Okay, now, so, what you're going to need is, since the first day, since the Yom Teruah is going to be a Shabbat, ask off of work now, if you can get it, if you haven't already done it. You can look on the Hebrew Hebrew Israelite Believers Facebook page, and there's posted there the schedule, the potential schedule based on when the new moon is going to be seen. Is posted there, and so ask for those days and in faith, and hope that they will occur at those times. Or maybe you might ask for 2 days. Surely it'll, I don't know, might happen within the 2-day period. If you can't, then you just can't. So you're going to need 24 hours worth of food. You're going to need your scriptures. Yeah, it's good to say blessings. Blessings for, and like I said, you can get the new moon blessings, the Shehekianu blessing that blesses the Most High for letting you live to see the special time again. Once again, see that. You can get the family blessings there. Now, I don't own that link. I don't own it. I don't maintain it. And I just go there. I've done that for years. It just really blesses me. I wish I could leave them a donation, but I don't know how. I'm still trying to figure that one out. You'll need food. You'll need your scriptures. You'll need a shofar if you have it. If you don't have a shofar, you play the shofar blast that's on YouTube. There's many shofar blasts, and just play them all day. Let it be a day of joy. You rest. Since it is a Shabbat, you rest. You rest your mind, you rest your body. You might want to tune into a teaching or something as you rest on YouTube. Some of the good teachers that I've seen so far are Awakening Remnant, and then let me see, what is Malachi Maccabee? I think it's oh my, I don't know the name of that channel, but I can post it on the Hebrew for Hebrew Israelite Believers. Or you might have your own teachers that you like to listen to. Let me see, who else is good? The Melchizedek Church, I believe what it is out of St. Louis. They're excellent. Let me see, Pastor Dowell. His services are good as long as he's not teaching the men to beat their wives. But, you know, just maybe you might listen to a good teaching video. I know that there's some Hebrew Messianic Christians who have some good teachings. Jim Staley, of course, he's in prison for doing something wrong with money, I believe it is. But he's still got some good teachings out there. 119 Ministries is good, but, you know, they're going to get on there. You've seen them try to debunk the Hebrew Israelites. And, you know, these people are, you know, they search the scriptures. And it has gone over their head that Japheth, that Ashkenaz, that 90% of world Jewry is Ashkenazi. And in the Table of Nations in Genesis 10, Ashkenaz, it's like Japheth, his son is Gomer, and then Gomer's son is Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz is not linked with Shem anywhere in the Bible. And so you can, in that way you can tell that these people are fulfilling the Genesis 9:27 prophecy that our grandfather Noah said that Ashkenaz will enlarge, which means to enlarge, and it also means to convince or deceive or them into thinking that they are Shem. They will, Yah will enlarge Japheth, and they will dwell, live in our place, and live as us, dwell in the tents of Shem. I hope that made some sense. So, get your food, get your shofar, order one from eBay or Amazon or something like that. Mine, when I got it, I got mine at the Feast of Trumpets about, I don't know, 15 years ago. And it smelled horrible. It actually smelled like cow poop. It took years to get that smell out of the shofar. But, you know, if you get one that's stinky, you know, run alcohol and peroxide and all that through it, and it's still good to use. Clapping your hands, screaming, shouting. Play the shofar from YouTube. Sometimes you can get 8 hours worth of shofar playing. Maybe build a bonfire and sit outside. Just have it a good family time. A good time for family. Rest, relax, and just relax in the Most High. Talk about the coming of the Mashiach and the scriptures that deal with the coming of the Mashiach. One way, if you have a big family, one of the problems with keeping your house straight on the Shabbat during that 24-hour period, our house can get trashed sometimes, especially when we have a lot of grandkids in, and we usually have a lot of grandkids in. Their folks are not really awakened yet, and they're not trying to be, I don't believe, but we've always taught the grandkids from the time they were little till the time they're up now. Some of them are teenagers. But what we did, in order to maintain some, to get rid of the spirit of clutter, we got a big trash can. We set it in the corner, and that's our Shabbat trash can. And then we went down to a place and we got a big roll of plastic tablecloth where you just cut off what you need. And we would cut off several layers on Shabbat. We cut off several layers. And then we just layered the table with that. And then we use paper and plastic. And when we eat, we get everything off the table that can't go in the trash can. Hopefully there's not much on the table that doesn't need to get chucked. We get the tablecloth, we wrap it up, we put it in the garbage. And we do that every meal. People are not allowed to walk and eat because kids will not clean up after themselves. So they eat during meal times. And that kept it down a lot. We prepare our food, 24 hours worth of food, and that's the way that we pretty much keep the kitchen free of clutter for the holy days. I'm hoping that this camera is actually making a video this time, and yeah, just do what the Most High says do. And you can build family traditions with food. Okay, sit down. This is actually supposed to be the hottest summer on record. Make nice salads, fruit salads. You can choose a specific fruit salad just that your family will eat and like, and just serve it for Yom Teruah. Make that a family tradition. Chicken salad, kosher, chicken salad, croissants, and fruit, and you might want to get some fried chicken or something like that, but let it be your traditions that you mark for that time, to make it special. As long as the food is kosher, as long as you are within the parameters of Torah law, build your own family traditions. Okay, this is your Akoti, Sivani Israel, and I'm going to sign off because we're having company tomorrow night. Yeshua's chosen. He and his wife are going to come over, and son are going to come over and we're going to bring in the Shabbat together. So I'm going to cook today, and then just straighten up the house tomorrow. I hate to cook on Friday because then you make a big mess in the kitchen and you're going, oh, I got to get this done, and it just really stresses me out. So I'm going to cook, clean the kitchen, and do laundry. All right. May you have a blessed day. May your family be safe. May the Ruach HaKodesh pursue your unawakened ones and convict them down to their souls and not let them rest until they repent and come into the